Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. We're going to look at the Schuyler Bible Maps. I got to ask a question not long ago about what is the best map section in the back of particular Bible. So we may go over some, but I tell you, really good ones are the Schuyler. One reason is Barry Betzel, in my opinion, and there's probably others, I don't know everything there is to know about Bible maps and that type thing. I love them. I've learned a lot and continue to learn a lot from Bible maps. But the Moody Bible Atlas is, when I read that, and I don't think I ever finished it, but I read a lot of it, especially the Table of 70 Nations. It is transformative. And Betzel, he was a graduate, I think, from Bob Jones University, and he's gone on to be of some repute in the Bible map making world, not just the Moody Bible Atlas. Whenever I see Betzel involved in maps, they tend to be just fantastic. So this is in the Schuyler Canterbury. I did want to say that. This is the maps in the back of the Schuyler Canterbury 12. I'm thinking some of the Schuylers may have 15 maps. About the most maps I've ever seen in the back of a Bible is 17. Is that right? Or 16? 17, I think. But like I said, and so these maps in a lot of ways are excellent maps. Topographically, informationally, the color scheme, I tend to really like maps. And that's one area like Thomas Nelson over the years has really lagged behind. They've just updated their maps. Holman's always had good maps. The big Bible map maker, but not necessarily in the Bibles themselves, has been Abingdon Press, which is a United Methodist map maker. So I figured we'd just go through these maps and let you just take a look at them, because I really like these Schuyler maps. And I tell you, when I first did a review on the Schuyler Canterbury, I probably didn't do it nearly the justice as I do now. I use it a lot. It's my daily reading Bible. It really had to grow on me. And another hidden gem, another hidden wonderful thing about the Schuyler Canterbury is the wideness of the margins. Not the wide margin edition, but the wideness of the margins are absolutely fantastic. So we'll just go through these. Divided Kingdom, United Kingdom. See, like on this, like in the monarchy period of Israel's history, just these little charts, you can learn an awful lot. And it's just really good. Let's say you're reading the Gospels. Let's say you're reading either Harmony of the Gospels or just reading the Gospels themselves. It's really cool to see where are these places when it says, woe unto you Chorazin, woe unto you Bethsaida, or something. Where were these places at? Where did Jesus go? Now that is one wonderful thing about the Thompson Chain Reference Bible, is because like it'll have the footsteps of Jesus, or the footsteps of Abraham, or the footsteps of Moses, the footsteps, the journeys of the Apostle Paul. And so it lets you do that, and each footstep will be like numbered, and then he'll have like number 82. He'll have the key out to the side. What is 82? And he'll name the city or the area or the region. That's all really good. And then like the last week of Jesus' crucifixion, he does the same thing. And so stuff like that is really, really good. So now we come to the ministry of Jesus. I mean, just look at this map, the topography of it. It's just great. Really lets you see what's going on. Takes you basically from the Sinai Peninsula, the tongue of Egypt, let me say, to Syria, Lebanon, Again, it gives you the topography, because Israel's got some fascinating topography. I mean, you go from the mountains of Lebanon, Hermon, over 9,000 feet high, to literally the lowest elevation on earth by the Dead Sea, 1,292 feet below sea level, and all points in between. And then the missionary journeys of Paul. Now, I tell you, there's a book by Boyd that was originally put out by World, that what I appreciated about that, and I've since found it maybe one or two other places, I can't remember where, but in that, he told the distance, like 2,871 miles and stuff, of a missionary journey by the Apostle Paul. That's just cool stuff right there. That's great information to have. And so, you know, have a little key like 1 equals 300 miles here. On the big map, it's 1 inch equals 120 miles, and you can just kind of see what's going on. And this is the Roman Empire and early Christianity. A lot of neat stuff too, like, you know, Tripolitina. You know, you learn a lot of things that have what we call them still today, had ancient names. So this is just really good. So we're going to go back through each of these 12 maps, and we're just going to take a look and kind of examine them here. It also has an index to the map. Okay, so like you want to look at the back, the Albany River, it'll tell you, you know, go to G2, map 2, and then G2. It's got a grid system set up. That's how you use Bible maps. And then map 4, C4. We'll just do that. We'll go to map 2, G2. We're looking at the River Albany. Map numbers up at the top. So then we want to do G2. There's 2, and there's G. And right up top, right by Damascus, is the Albany River at G2. So the index is really cool too, which I've used that very few times in my ministry. I've used it a little bit, very few. Like I'll go years and not use it, but if you really want to find a place, I mean, that's how you find it. You use the little grid. And so you look in the index at the back, and it's alphabetized, and then you can find it. And so it's on multiple maps here. So like the first one, the world of the patriarchs. And see, some of the stuff I really liked about Betzel, I mean, because he's so cutting edge. So like the Hittites, you know, they used to say the Hittites didn't exist. That was a real proof against the Bible, till they found Boghaskoy, the capital of the Hittite Empire. Now everybody knows. Like, and there's never any contrition. Nobody ever apologizes much for any of this stuff. But like now they're known as the Hattai. So I mean, that's a cool thing to know. Or R2, Mount Ararat. Where is Mount Ararat? The Araxes River, Nippur, Ison, Lachish, Larsa, where's of the Chaldees? And this is just, I mean, this is a great one. Where's Memphis, Saqqara, Sardis, Pelusium, the Nile River? And so this just has all kinds of Ugaritic, like the Ugaritic inscriptions, Haran, and like he spells Haran with 2 R's, more technically correct. And then the tribal allotments, just a fantastic job. Like Simeon is in Judah, encased in Judah. Little Benjamin, and that's where you know, Jerusalem looks like it's in Benjamin, even though it's kind of Jerusalem. It's Judah. It's all right there together. Dan, he's got Dan in the south, but we know Dan was in the north as well. But this is the initial allotment. And then the conquest. He's got a little side map with the I mean, so this is just great stuff. The route of the Exodus. He's obviously not going in this modern direction of the Gulf of Aqaba. He goes in other directions here, but that's more traditional. The kingdoms of Saul, David, and Solomon. I was looking at this one the other day, and that was really cool to show where Saul's kingdom was, David's kingdom was, and where Solomon's kingdom was. I mean, it was, in politics, people talk about greater Israel and stuff, and that's basically the Abrahamic covenant, but to give you an idea of what's going on here. I remember being at the Golan Heights looking, it's pretty amazing. The Assyrian and the Babylonian empires, just a really good map. And it goes all the way to Hellas. Well, what is Hellas? That's Greece. Hellenistic culture, Hellene, Helen of Troy, and Syria, Phrygia, Togarma. So when you're reading Ezekiel 38:39, you're reading about Togarma, which many people would say that's where the term Turkey comes from, which they're going to later invade Israel. Ecbatana, which is very famous in the ancient world. All kind of stuff. And then the Persian and the Greek empires, Armenia, Bactria, Punjab. So you've even got Punjab province. People still talk about that today. All the way to India. Because Alexander the Great went. Macedonia. And so how far he went. The ministry of Jesus has like 27 different places marked. But you can see he goes all the way to Tyre at the top, which is Phoenicia, Caesarea Philippi, where Peter gets the great revelation of who Jesus Christ is. Mount Hermon, all the way down to Bethlehem. And it doesn't even go into, because it's the ministry of Jesus, not the life of Jesus, into Egypt and all of this. And then Paul, I like how it has two maps here, and it's got three, and many would say 4 or even 5 missionary journeys of Paul. And it shows you where the 7 churches of Revelation. I remember that when I first learned that the 7 churches of Revelation were kind of in a semicircle, all very close to each other. That really was revelatory to me. Albany here, and then what was the Roman Empire? The sun never set on the Roman Empire. Brexit, if England is really leaving, when the Roman Empire gets reinstituted, which biblical prophecy seems to indicate it will, England's going to have to be back part of it, but Scotland won't. Ireland won't. So that's kind of neat. But North Africa will, and Egypt will. So biblical maps, index to the maps, lot in the index of the maps. I better show you the index of the maps. I really didn't do a good job. The Schuyler Canterbury, because of Barry Betzel's involvement, I mean, this is just some of the very best in biblical maps right here. Are they the best? I don't know, because I just haven't sat down the several hundred or few hundred Bibles I've got with maps and laid them out next to you. And you wouldn't have to do that much, but it's really good. I'll say that. So God bless. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.